Again, as you add different components, you're going to have one universal interface into it. And we hear that all the time. I have customers who say, I don't want to go into 3 different management platforms to take care of that.
So if you like that, watch this. Okay. So our very next virtualized service, it's going to come third quarter, fourth quarter. Without getting into the minutia, as soon as we knock the tumbler over the first, what we call third-party VNF,
okay,
right? Virtualized network function. For those who aren't familiar with the lexicon, VNF is a fancy word for the next product.
Yep.
The next product. I'm an old engineer. I hate techno bullies. It's like, just explain what it is.
Okay.
Our very next one is going to be advanced firewall and UTM, Unified Threat Management. So today, what do? Customers want this. Typically, they go to Fortinet. Typically, they go to Palo Alto. They may be riding with Cisco.
Okay.
You could find Juniper. There's a handful of other players. There's lots of good players in the space.
Yeah.
What we're looking to do as we start going this way, so I'll just draw it this way and say third-party VNF. Our goal is best of breed all the way across. As customers say, I want this vendor, I need this badge, this player is the most prevalent and I'm familiar with them and I have confidence in them, they're going to be part of our platform.
All right, so basically you're going to be able to offer multiple platforms. Yep. The customer says, I want Palo Alto, I want Fortinet, plug that in.
Yep.
I got to bring you back a little bit.
Yep.
You said you had firewall in there.
Yes.
What's the difference between them?
So stateful firewall right here, I'll
just a straight
it's a simple stateful firewall. Stateful firewall.
Okay.
All right. It doesn't go to layer 7. I mean, this advanced firewall takes you up to layer 7 for Appleware.
UTM stands for
Unified Threat Management.
Okay.
And there's a lot we can talk about here. My colleague on information security is really anxious for us to enable our first partner. We're deep in development on this now.
Okay.
The stateful firewall, when you look at branch offices and you look at how distributed enterprises have changed, in an MPLS world, what did you do? All your traffic routed back through that center hub somewhere, and then you'd hit an internet drain and out you would go.
Right.
Stateful firewall allows you to just drop that traffic locally. You never have to hairpin it back to the network. So if you're really taking advantage of cloud applications, why in the world are you riding across precious bandwidth, precious backbone network? Yep. Just let it go.
Okay.
All right, so that's what we use the stateful firewall for.
Perfect.
All right, and then you don't need an appliance to do something that's very simple.
Right there.
All right,
yep.
So real quickly, I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but I'm going to put up a couple of other things up here. I'm going to talk about Wi-Fi in just a few minutes. Wi-Fi is going to be something we're virtualizing in the cloud.
Okay.
All right, we're about ready to crack the seal on that. Then you can, and I'll do this. I'm going to put down a virtual router. And it's not the same thing, but just for space, WAN acceleration still has a place. Although in a properly designed IP network, we believe WAN acceleration may not, their days may be numbered, so to speak, if your network is really resilient enough and you have enough bandwidth. But we got our eyes on the players in that space. We're committed in on this, and we're about to crack the seal on this. The key piece here is not, so I'm gonna draw your eyes here. Here, we pulled all the APIs, simplified it as best as we could, make it approachable, make it usable. Here, this is third party. This isn't Comcast's product.
Okay.
This is maybe Fortinet.
Right.
Guess what? Customers know the Fortinet UI.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you into my digital experience. I'm going to bring you to my network map. I'm going to bring you to my services page.
Okay.
However, when the customer decides, I would like to see how my advanced firewall settings look, I will click a button and it will take me to the DX of Fortinet.
Okay.
So it's a blend depending on who they are.
Which way you go.
In Wi-Fi, complete opposite. I'm pulling everything in, every single damn API I can, and it's going to come through here. Okay. So it's going to depend on the partnership and the best of breed and what customers expect. God help us, we will ask the customer again.
Okay.
So that's the idea. The key point I wanted to offer real quickly, and then I want to come down here, is this word insights. So one of the things that we learned early on in talking to customers was, customers said to us, would you please, if you are building a next generation network, if you think you're really doing that, could you build me a next generation interaction and experience?
Okay.
You tell me, operators, customers, they don't have eyes on glass all the time.
Right.
Right? And when they get an alarm, they don't necessarily know where the problem is.
They usually even forget where to go for this.
That's right. And then if you have hybrid WANs, hybrid networks, we have multiple carriers, they're chasing on the call, they're calling maybe AT&T, they're calling the local cable guy, and they're chasing and chasing. What if I could give you exactly what happened, whether it was my network or not, and with a click of a button, I popped you to exactly the problem?
All right.
Simple.
Nice.
And what if I could do that across all my products?
Okay.
Harmonized, one spot. That's the idea, that's what that is, and that's what the patents were about.
Wonderful.
Okay? Now, real quickly, to come down here, and I'm going to make maybe 2 or 3 more points. Universal CPE, this one's a biggie. Now, in this world, there's lots of different options out there. Typically, they're extraordinarily expensive. What a lot of people may not know about Comcast, so I'll broaden the scope. It was actually my old world. I'm not so sure I ever want to go back to it, but I did CPE for Comcast for a long time.
Okay.
And I worked with the team who developed and designed video set-top boxes, home security boxes, broadband boxes.
Okay.
Comcast builds millions and millions and millions of devices to deliver our services, including in business services. Okay. Down here, we took a look at what the state of the art in the industry was. Way too expensive, way overbuilt, no scope, no scale. What we're doing is we're going to be commissioning our own.
Okay.
All right. And what happens down here is, and I think this is going to be a big delineator for a lot of people. These things down here, and I'm trying to think how I can elegantly show you. It's a little bit difficult, but maybe I'll do this. If I'm in a customer branch, I'm going to have an instance of my SD-WAN product, and I may have an advanced firewall option that I decided that at that branch the customer wanted.
So these components running on the central CPE device, or the unified CPE.
That's right, and I have Wi-Fi. So I'm going to do this on purpose. There is a move, because SDN came out of the data center world.
Correct.
And you may see this with VMware, which will be interesting to see where they go with VeloCloud, where a lot of businesses say, oh, no, I'm going to host all that stuff up there. I'm going to give you virtual CPE that I run in my cloud. And I'm going to bring your unified threat management product, I'm going to run it out of the cloud, which means your traffic is going to hairpin around.
Right. And you need to encrypt it too,
which
you do. Then adds packet size.
There you go. Packet size, delay, poor experience. What we're hearing is there's a move out of the cloud into the CPE.
Edge computing.
Our decision was, I want to make sure my products and services, again, in the eye of the customer, not on what I think is cool. I want to maximize performance.
Okay.
As time goes by, I might kick this stuff back up with my engineers. We'll kick it up into the cloud. But right now, we're running these instances locally. So what happens is, I pull down the software, the VM. I spin up a VM and I run the software here. There is no hairpinning. There's no nothing. This is just a control link.
Okay.
It's nothing but control data. All the traffic is going wherever the VPN is set. Right. You notice I didn't put Wi-Fi in there.
Yep.
Right. I don't need to run a VM for Wi-Fi. These controllers are going to live up in my cloud. So there's my difference. I don't have to run locally because it makes no sense. All I'm going to do is deploy access points on the customer's premise.
Okay.
Nice and simple, nice and clean. 2 other really quick points I'll offer to you. The first thing, I'm going to use green. The first thing is these guys are precious commodities. Right?
What do you mean by that?
Well, the CPE comes with processors, and typically Intel is the leading player.
Okay.
And if people are familiar with these things at all, there is, well, I won't draw it, but there's chipsets called the Rangeley family and chipsets called the Denverton family, and there's chipsets called the Xeon family. And if I translate that into English, Rangeley's old.
Okay.
It's about to be kind of, its life cycle is almost over in about 2 years. So then the Denverton is the new chip. It's a nice chip, it's faster, it's a little bit cheaper. And then you got the Xeon, which is the big mother chip, right? And they kind of look like chips you find in computers. What it does is it gives horsepower. So to simplify it for us, it's how many cores does that processor support?
Okay.
Now Xeon is slightly different, but we're not playing in that space just yet. But the boxes that you see typically come with that.
Okay.
And the VNF that you run on the box takes up processing power on the core. It's a math equation. So for here,
how many can you run?
Bingo. So putting a small universal CPE, remember I don't want that one there, I want the firewall here. Putting a small CPE out there with 4 cores, that's about all I could do is 2 functions.
Okay.
If the customer says, well, hold on a minute, You didn't tell me about your virtual SBC, which is the other one I forgot to put up there for voice.
Okay.
I want an instance running down here. You're going to come at that.
Jump.
How are you going to get the economies of scale?
Okay.
How is anybody, unlike us, going to get the economies? I'm telling you, this is an area where people aren't focused.
Right.
This is a big cost driver, and it's also a pain point as customers want to grow. Do they have room to grow? In our offer, we're variable.
Okay. That's where I was going to go. So you're in essence renting them the device, or so, and that one of the things I get from my sales partners all the time is, well, why don't they just buy the box? And my argument is, guess what? The network is changing so quickly, and what you really made me think more about is the fact that not only is the network, but the amount of functions that we're adding is changing, and that's going to make you upgrade that box. Why do you want to buy it?
Right.
Go to Comcast, let them provide it to you.
If you stay variable and I run out of gas, it's my obligation to come and give you something that's bigger. Now, it might cost a couple of dollars more, but I've got the scale to build these and knock the price down, which means, honestly, I don't want to make money on this.
Right.
I want to make money on network. I want to make money on the products and services. I want my customer happy with what we delivered.
Yeah. Well, because hardware is a commodity now.
Exactly.
We don't care about it.
As long as it does the job.
Yeah.
And so this is a big deal, because if you go with a hardware platform, so this is about the only negative thing I'll say, you will find that you are vendor locked.
Yep.
I'm in one spot. Can I add all these things? Well, you go into the tyranny of the boxes, as we say. Box, 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 UI, 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 UI. Where does that get you 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now?
Yeah.
And then maybe on my last remark, and I'll draw it this way. There are others, this isn't completely foreign, all right? And what we see from a lot of our carrier competitors is they have different flavors of all of this. People who are closest to us kind of look like this. They don't have the orchestration layer, they don't have the VNF manager, but they've got this, all right? Now Versa has a really interesting stack.
Yeah.
Versa can support some level of advanced firewall. They have some capabilities in UTM. Frankly, it's not that much, and they really should be sticking to what SD-WAN is. You stay in this world here, and you want a Fortinet firewall, go get another box.
Yeah.
So they have no orchestration approach.
And I like about this is technology changes so quickly. You know what? You got somebody else who's come out with a better product right there.
Precisely.
Comcast is going to add to it. Now I can replace that out whenever you want.
Bingo. So while we haven't fully contemplated it, I'll pick vendor A and vendor B. Our customer chooses vendor A. We enable vendor B. We're charging the customer X amount of dollars for it, $50 a month. They say, hey, I really want vendor B. All that might be is a very nominal MACD change, just because there's a human who might have to help. I'm going to automate the hell out of that, so maybe I can just flip it.
Gotcha.
Why put the burden on the customer? Because we're giving them what they want.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
It's beautiful.
All right.
Love it.
That's our story.
There you go, guys. You've just heard geek speak with Comcast, right? And if you want to learn more about what we just talked about, go out to Cloud University, go to the Comcast section, and you'll be able to find out more.